what he did was, and this is one of the dumbest moves, he stopped the child support to the other children. And her attorney says, and it was temporary, but her attorney says because that money was stopped, she's about to lose her home. Now, Shay asked the question. Shay, you're back with me? Shay?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, and you wanted to know what was the mistress doing. She owned a flower shop.
Okay. So my position on this is I'm all for him paying whatever it needs to make sure that the kids are 100% taken care of and have the best quality of life that he's providing to his other children. And I think that now when it comes to the child support thing, everybody think about the number, but are we making sure that the funds that they're asking for is actually going to taking care of the children and not satisfying additional needs of the mother?
Okay, let me ask you this. Are you a wife?
I'm an ex-wife with 4 children.
You are an ex-wife. Were you ever in the unfortunate situation of your husband having a mistress?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he impregnate that mistress?
Yes.
Okay. Because you sound real serious, and I'm glad you called back. You sound real serious, and I can certainly respect that. It is unreasonable to ask anybody who's receiving child support to document what they do with the money.
I'm not asking for documentation. I'm just asking when people get themselves in a situation to become a mistress, taking responsibility on both parties, and having children outside of that, then they asking for these large sums of money for child support.
So let me make sure I get you.
The funds are actually going to be used to take care of those children and not to support the lifestyle of the father or the mother, whoever the mistress may be.
Okay, let me ask you this. You are a former wife, and let's
Correct.
say there was no mistress in the picture.
Okay.
Let's just say that things didn't work out.
Okay.
You're in court. Your attorney is asking for what your attorney believes your children rightfully deserve.
Okay.
His attorney is saying, well, I want to make sure that the child support she's getting is going to the children. What would your response to that be?
I was like, okay.
Okay.
If I'm using the kids, I'm pretty sure they're in private schools. They're going to the best schools. They're going on a family vacation. As long as my children are not feeling excluded and they know that it's going to be a dual family, the kids are, I think, the most important thing in this.
See, I'm not talking about dual families. I was just talking about the issue of child support. You seem to be of the mindset that because of the amount of money we're talking about, that if he's going to be doling out this kind of money, that there should be some substantiation that money is truly child support. And let me just tell you what the problem with that is. The problem with that is children have a whole lot of needs.
Exactly.
Children have to be in a home that's secure, where they have so that they're not cold, they're not hot, they have the right food. That if the mother is, that if the mother is not there, that she can get the appropriate child care for her children. There are so many things, and as a single parent, you know how much of your time and efforts and everything else has to be invested into taking care of your children. And
I'm 100% in support of child support, 100% in agreement with him having to pay more.
But you just want to know how much it is and that the money only covers that.
I feel like how much is too much? How much is enough to say, you know what, okay, are we taking care of the kids or are we taking care of you?
Well, let me ask you this. I'm sure you've heard where judges have ruled. In fact, there have been some public stuff, and it's not the same thing, but I just want to take you there in terms of how judges respond. These men who marry these high-profile celebrity women.
Correct.
and the men don't bring any money to the game.
Mm-hmm.
They don't bring any money, but they're married to these women for a period of time. And when the divorce time comes, a judge says, because this man is accustomed to this kind of lifestyle, thanks to you, Miss Wife, you're going to have to take care of him. And the quality of his life cannot diminish because he becomes your ex-husband. So here is what you're going to have to give him. Okay? You've got Jill Scott dealing with that right now. You have Mary J. Blige has dealt with it. Sherry Shepherd has dealt with it. Okay, right. Okay, so you know that. Now, sometimes, and in a Florida court, I can't wait to see how this thing ultimately ends out, because it's the Bible Belt. Not necessarily that everybody lives by the Bible. Even people meting out justice that don't necessarily live by the Bible. But what a judge is going to say sometimes is this. You're making $30 million a year. You've got 2 children in this state. Those children deserve to have a certain quality of life because you are their father. So if you're making
100% agree.
Okay, so if you're making $30 million, you got to get prepared to give up at least $1 million or more. That's what I think.
That's sufficient. I think that's sufficient, but at the same time, I feel my whole point in the whole system with child support, dealing with it personally and talking about this case specifically, is should the other party become comfortable living off the child support?
Now, let's not pretend not to know what we know.
Right.
And here's what we know. That the mother is going to use some of this money to maintain the home. She's going to, the money let me ask, well, I don't want to go there. That's realistic. That's realistic. And whatever she does with it, the judge is going to say, the children deserve A, B, and C. That's just the way life is. Now, I don't think that you can quantify all that a single parent does, whether it's a man or a woman, to take care of these children. You just can't. And again, why should his children, regardless of who he had those children with, have to live have a lower standard of living than the children who live in the home with him? And that's what the judge is going to decide on. Right now, you see, he had it sweet, and the wife really should have left it like it was. $216,000 a year is all that he's paying now. That's it. That's it.
I wouldn't be opposed to the judge even upping it to $1 million. I 100% with a quality of life. Again, I just feel like when situations like this arise, we need to also look at the other party in this as, are you asking this for truly for the kids' interest, or are you also trying to keep up with the Jones, if you want to say?
What? When you sleep with a man who earns $30 million a year and you have 2 babies with him, you can live like the Joneses. You can keep up with the Joneses.
I guess we just have to agree or disagree with that.
And I'm not saying you should. Wait a minute. I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying you should. But if you sleep with a man who earns $30 million a year, you have 2 children by that man, you have some options that the average mistress does not have. That's all I'm saying. I'm not supporting it.
Sure.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that she can live like the Joneses. If her children's father earns $30 million a year, they don't have to live in an average neighborhood. They don't. And nor should they. Nor should they. It's unfortunate, the circumstances under which they were born. Nobody with any decency supports that, but the children are here now. And should they be discriminated against because their married father slept with his married mistress?
No, they should not.
Okay? And that's the issue. That's the issue. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's the cost of doing business for him. And again, as I said earlier, once he impregnated the woman the first time, he liked this. He must have really liked this woman. They have 2 children. One's 5 years old, and the other one is 5 or 10. 5, and the other one's 2.5 years old. He was into this woman.
Well, like you said, they had a relationship.
Yeah, they had a relationship, and he didn't have any problem paying until he got busted. Thank you, Shay. I'm glad you called back. All right, have a great one. Bye-bye. Hi, Miss Renee.
Hi.
What do you think?
Hi. I love your show.
Thank
wanted
you.
to say that to you. I think that he should pay the money because, first of all, he knows that when he was having this affair, that it was wrong. And she knew it too. But why should the children suffer because he don't want to pay the money? $30 million a year, $1 million won't hurt him. So I think he should pay.
You know, he's gonna mess around and he's gonna get one of those Southern judges and they're gonna say $30 million a year. Take 5.
Well,
thanks so much for checking in, Charles. You're on the air.
Hey, Mildred, how are you?
I'm great.
Yes, I've been listening to your conversation, and I love your show. But here's one technical thing that I hear everybody saying. And first of all, let me just preface it by saying that I totally agree. There's too many deadbeat fathers, and in some cases, you know, when mom's in that position, the same thing. But and the kids have to take priority, and the kids have to be taken care of. Now, what we got here is a matter of somebody making a millionaire, making a whole lot of money, and what kind of lifestyle the kids are going to use. I'm sorry, what kind of life the kids are going to live. But here's the one inappropriate thing that I think a lot of people are saying: $30 million. And this is what the courts are going to look at. $30 million, because of his tax bracket, is going to get reduced down to about $15 million. And when you look at any other legitimate expenses, that may go down to even lower than that. So his take home may be somewhere about 10 or 12 million. So now you're talking about what percentage of that 10, 12, even if it's 15 million, what percentage of it? Because when you start talking about $1 million versus $30 million, everybody's, that's not a problem. But remember, he's not taking on $30 million. We got these unfortunate things that's called taxes that reduces all of our income significantly, as we know. So my point is, he's got to pay, but let's not overstate that $30 million because that is not what he's taking home. That was my only point.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem, and I appreciate you sharing that. Derek, you're on the Mildred Gaddis Show.
Hi, how you doing, Mildred?
I'm good.
I love your show.
Thank you.
Yeah, that last caller just took he just took my words right out of my mouth. I wanted to say too that Kabir, I mean, I don't know if you guys been watching him lately, but his expectancy of playing baseball is not too much long, you know, because he's gonna be gone in a little bit, you know, because he's gonna be done with his career.
But you know what though? When you're right, not such a good season last season, but I will tell you this.